So, first game of the season in this and any other division Wednesday against Southampton at Hillsborough. Southampton will just come down from Premier League and didn't it show? They've got some quality players on the books. Now they've lost a couple of players in the window so far and managed to resist bids for a couple more. They've got a lad who didn't start tonight at right back because there's discussions about him being on the move. And the lad they brought in, fantastic player. And it just shows the depth, and albeit they've come down from Premier League, they've been up there for well over a decade, and you can see that right the way through their squad, the depth, that even a team that's struggling in the Premier, when they come down here, there's a real gulf in the quality there. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the teams. So, Chisco's first pick as a manager in the league, 4-4-1-1. Cam Dawson in goal, back four, Callum Patterson, Dominic Iorfa, Michael Hekwe and Akinfenwa. Midfield four from right to left, Delgado, Backinson, Volks and Windass. Barry Bannon in the supporting role behind Lee Gregory up front. Now I'm looking at that and I actually suspect that with Backinson there as a holding player with Volks, that Wednesday were probably meant to be more of a 4-2-3-1 when we'd got the ball. The truth is though, because we didn't have a lot of the ball, it tended to be that 4-4-1-1 for probably 85 minutes of the game. We were trying to look and stretch, and clearly the plan would have been to get Delgado and Windass on the left hand side and then supporting Lee Gregory, but we didn't really have the opportunities to do that in the game. A quick look at Southampton. The opposition then, Southampton, they lined up with a 4-3-3. Actually, they lined up with a system that I'd like to see us have a go at, but that's a different matter for another day. Bazzuno in goal, back four, Walker Peters, Stevens, Bednarek and Manning. A midfield three, Smallbone, Alcaraz and Ward-Prowse. And up front, really strong attack, Teller, Armstrong and Edozie. And not dozy about him actually, an old great player. Quality all the way through that team, and it showed almost straight away. Young lad on the right hand side, Teller, Nathan Teller, very good player. First instinct when he gets the ball is to run at players. Albeit over 90 minutes he did seem to basically have one trick, which was to pretend to go down the outside and then to come back on the inside and try and get a shot in. And even though we knew what he was going to do, we still failed to stop it time and again. And it reminded me a bit, you know, when you're playing computer games against one of the kids, you know, and they're battering you, and you know exactly what they're going to do, but you still can't stop it, and you're a bit like, my joystick's broken. It was a bit like that. We knew what he was going to do, couldn't stop it, and 5 minutes in, he pulled that trick off that he tried for the rest of the evening, come inside on left foot, killed a lovely shot, albeit it did take a bit of a clip-on win from Armstrong up front, who's been awarded goal. And Wednesday very much up against it from that point. I mean, they were dominating possession at ball. Wednesday with a little bit of sixes and sevens with the speed that they started the game. The kid on the other side, Edozie, really skinny legs actually, like two mop handles, but very light on his feet, heels not on floor, skipping past players. Delgado and Patterson had got their hands full there with him. Albeit overall, I thought they actually did quite well against him, because he's a really class player, and I think he'll set this division alight, I really do. I was talking a couple of minutes ago about their right back, their first choice right back, who he didn't get picked tonight because there's a transfer talk, and obviously he'll be unsettled and all these other words he used to describe it. The lad who came in to replace him though, Walker Peters, what a player he is. And although he's meant to be playing right back, there's a spell of 20 minutes, 25 minutes in that first half. He's coming inside on a diagonal and joining in. He's allowing that Alcaraz to get forward and Ward-Prowse to get forward. He's joining in himself. He's playing like a third attacking midfield player. He's meant to be right back. And they were just coming out of wave after wave of attack. And in fact, at one point, the stats have said that they'd got 81% possession of the ball.
Are you serious?
No, seriously. That's a lot of football. A lot of football. And if you look at their passing graph for tonight, it's absolutely incredible. That is a lot of passes. They really did. They kept hold of the ball really well today. I mean, that graph just proves it, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It was like, oof. Well, okay, it weren't that bad, but do you know what I mean? That's what it felt like watching it. So it's a tough start to the season, but we knew it was going to be a tough start to the season. Just to that end, I wasn't really that upset about what I was seeing. I was expecting this to be a really hard game. And the truth of the matter is, results against Southampton and Leicester and other teams have come down with a lot of quality. They're not going to be the results that decide where we finish up. Now, every Wednesday fan I've talked to would be happy with a mid-table finish. I think most would be happy with 4th, 5th from bottom. Now, it's the results against teams down that end that's going to decide our season. It's going to be results against Queen's Park Rangers, Cardiff, Huddersfield, Plymouth, teams that you probably expect going to be down that bottom end. Results against Southampton, Leicester, anything you can get from them's a bonus. As I said, tricky first half for Patterson and Delgado. Edozie was a very lively player. Second half they got to grips with him, not without a little bit of frustration. Like I said, Pat Oles got booked in first half, he's had to take one for team. There's a 10-minute window when Delgado seems to be just losing his mettle a little bit and his nerve, and he's sticking a foot in where he don't need to stick a foot in. Probably years back we would have said, oh, that Latin temperament, do you know what I mean? Probably don't say that these days, but I think there was a little bit of that showing through. He had a couple of little decent bursts forward actually. I've quite liked what I've seen with him so far. Obviously he's got to blend into the team and settle into City and what have you, but there were little flashes there from him I quite liked. They started the second half really as they'd started the first. Iorfa made a fantastic block when Armstrong wriggled away in the box, and then Patterson finished the job by hacking it away. And that would have signed at second half. Wednesday, really compact, and I thought they got a really good shape. And again, frustrating to watch because you want to go to a game, you want to see your team having plenty of ball, especially at home, moving it about and getting plenty of chances. But as I said, sometimes when you're playing quality opposition like that, you've got to accept that they're going to dominate the ball, and you've got to do what you can do with the players you've got available. And I thought, although I don't like Barry Bannon in this number 10 position, I mentioned that in pre-match video and probably mentioned in Luton friendly and friendly before that. All managers try him there in number 10 slot, but this will wake up to it. But overall, I thought we got a very good shape out there, and I thought we were compact and compressed, and they did break us through, but that's, I think, more to do with the fact they got quality on ball. In fact, their winning goal, Ward-Prowse, I mean, there's a player 6 months back, 4 months back, whatever it is, they were talking about him going in England squad to World Cup. Real quality, and that shows in the winning goal that comes right at the end of the game. It's a decent passing, it's a decent finish from Adams, but that goal is made by Ward-Prowse making a really good run straight into box up middle and then curving in behind Wednesday's defence just to pick that ball up. Fantastic play, and that's the difference. That's the difference today. And I talked before the game that I didn't like the way we got George Byers. I didn't like the two defensive midfielders against Luton, because I like Byers getting forward and making that extra man in the box, and the sort of run that Ward-Prowse has done tonight. Not that it mattered about where George Byers played, because he didn't play. Apparently he's missing with a strain. I hope that's nothing major, because someone who can look after the ball as well as him is going to be vital this season. That was the one thing today where I thought Wednesday did let themselves down a little bit. I thought they worked hard. I thought the defensive shape was good by and large. A little bit panicky on ball though. I've got nothing wrong with clear lines. Obviously, I've said that, many times in the past. Sometimes it needs to go in stand. But there were times when I thought we had little opportunities where we could have just took a little bit more care with ball. And that's where players like George Byers are going to be vital for us this season. Coming in for George Byers were Backinson. A lot of moaning before game. And based on last season, perhaps, some of it justified because he's not so well on fire since he's been here. And even tonight, I didn't think he had that many touches at ball. But when he did, he was quite calm on ball. He had a shot from about 25 yards in first half that were probably our best opportunity. But he's got a level of composure. Now, last season, we were, lackadaisical, strolling about. Today, I actually thought it suited us that we got someone who were, quite calm and measured on ball rather than rushing everything. So, it'd be interesting to see what he can do in this division. And sometimes, some players can look better the higher up they go. Some players struggle further down. So, might be he's better suited to this division, genuinely. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not hanging my hats and coat on it, but it'd be interesting to see what sort of season he has. Wednesday did get a goal. It was probably never going to be enough with the amount of ball they were having. They were always going to get some more opportunities. Great finish, and it came from a counter-attack. And as I talked about before, I think the plan was for us to be a 4-2-3-1 when we were in attack mode, which was quite rare. But it was from one of them, ball down to Windass, really got burners on, accelerated down left. We won a corner, Volks swung it in. I was pleased to see that too. I do like a variation on corners and free kicks. Love Barry Bannon to bits, but sometimes I think it is worthwhile letting somebody else have one. Volks whipped it in. I headed it back down, and Gregory swept it home. Absolutely lovely finish. And it just gives you that glimmer, doesn't it? That, hang on. If we can stay in game here and keep it tight, we could get a point here. As it was, it weren't to be. Yeah, and with a wave after wave of attack coming, you'd always run in that risk that you're going to concede one. First glimpse of Tony Masaba tonight. I'm going to call him Tony. Came on up front, replaced Lee Gregory. Well, he had 10 minutes up front and then he got shifted out to right wing when second and third subs were made, but quite lively, little bit of pace. He had one sort of half opportunity with a ball over, got burners on, got past his man, and you've got to say fair play. I love to see a good tackle, mate, and their centre half has raced across in box. He's made an absolutely brilliant tackle, absolutely fantastic tackle. I love seeing challenges like that. I mean, I'd rather seen a Wednesday goal, obviously, but got to hold your hands up when you see a bit of quality from opposition, and that was a fantastic tackle. Perfect timing, in hard, low, one ball, terrific tackle. But he looked quite lively. He's obviously got a little bit of pace. And what I like from first impressions is he wants to get at people. He wants to get afterburners on him and he wants to run at people. And that's something that Wednesday's been short of, I would say, for 3 or 4 seasons at least. I mean, we had lad other year, I forgot his name now, he ended up in Russia. He'd run at people, but he tended to then just come inside and blast it off at bar. So if you can keep him under at bar, I think that'll be a step in the right direction. Overall, I think we're alright. I think, like I said, tough game. But I don't think we'll have many tougher games than that this season. Like I said, perhaps Leicester. Probably get a tough derby game against Leeds. But as I said before, these aren't going to be the results that decide our season. It's going to be teams in and around that bottom end, clustered in there. Cardiff, QPR, Huddersfield, maybe Hull, Rotherham. They're games that we've got to be winning, and all else is a bonus. But first impressions, there were bits of that quite like. I like the shape. I thought it was interesting the back four that he picked. In hindsight, and it's easy with hindsight, we can all sit here and say, oh, he shouldn't have picked him or he shouldn't have picked him. And in hindsight, maybe he could have gone with smaller, quicker fullbacks. Would Reece James have been better against Teller? Woodley and Palmer have been better against Edozie on the side. Look, you know, even that Valentin, we don't know where he's with fitness up. There's little things like that. But where I find it interesting is the size of that back four. Patterson, big unit. Iorfa, big unit. Ehekwe, big unit. Firmao, big unit. Right across that back. And I do wonder if that's something we're going to see a lot of this season. Big, strong back four. Yeah, frustrating in some ways tonight. You never want to go to a game and see opposition have nearly all at ball. You know, you've been at work all week, you're waiting for a big game, it's first match of the season, and then you barely get a kick and you lose to boot. But I thought there were some things in there that were a positive, and 28,000 tonight as well, 28,500, which, bearing in mind it's been a long week, it's Friday night, it's on telly, great support again, absolutely fantastic, and hopefully we'll have a bit more to cheer about in coming weeks. Man of the match. Difficult, isn't it, man at match when you've barely had a kick up ball. I thought Gregory were tireless, although he was so isolated up there. I don't like Bannon in number 10. I've said that in about the last 3 videos, but there we go. That's probably something I'm going to have to get used to. I think it's a little bit of a waste of him and what he can do. I like him facing forward. I thought it's Backington's best game for the club, to be honest with you. I've got to say that. I don't think he particularly did any much more than anybody else, but I just thought the way he tried to use the ball with a bit of calmness, I was quite impressed with that. I thought Windass were quiet. I thought he got busy with defensive duties, trying to help Firmao out down there at left hand side, sort of auxiliary fullback. He reminded me actually in some ways of poor old Bannon getting pinned back helping Padil in playoff final them years ago. Bit of a waste of a creative talent. Delgado, thought he were good in flashes, there's little bits in there, you know, I think once he's settled in we might see something from him. I thought Ehekwe and Iorfa, I thought they dealt with most stuff down middle, you know, I can think of probably one howitzer from Armstrong, and obviously the second goal Adams finds himself free in there, but overall I thought they dealt with all crosses that were coming into the box, interceptions, blocks, thought they did alright. I think my man at match would probably be Callum Patterson. He got a very, very exciting winger playing against him, really quick, really light on his feet, loved to dribble, and he was a real handful, and he'd cause any fullback trouble, and he will. He'll cause any fullback in this division a lot of problems. I expect to see his name right up there at the end of the season, if they keep hold of him. But second half I thought Patterson grew into it, and I thought him and Delgado started to get that little bit of a understanding. There was a little bit of covering going on when one were going and one was staying, and I thought between them they started to sort him out a little bit. So overall, yeah, I would say Patterson. I also thought he was our best outlet going forward, daft as it sounds. A couple of crosses into the box. Nobody in there really other than Gregory, which is a waste, and Paddy Bannon's not going to get his head on many things. That's something for manager to sort out, though, not play. Yeah, I think my man at match would be Callum Patterson. Overall, frustrating, but not frustrating in that angry way, if you know what I mean, because these are a quality outfit, loads of quality players. They will be up there at the end of the season, because if they can play like that most weeks, and they'll improve as well, don't forget, we're talking about Wednesday having to gel, but they'll improve as well, Southampton, as Martin gets his methods across. We can easily see them being top 2. I mean, if they put in 3 performances out of 5 like that, they, against teams that end at table that we're probably fighting against, I think they could get a couple of big scores. So frustrating, but enough shoots of recovery in there for me to see that we're trying to build something new, a different way of playing. It's going to take time, but already I thought there were one or two little building blocks in there, and I thought, yeah, quite solid overall. I mean, we're not going to be facing sides with that quality every week. There's some good sides in this division. It's going to be very competitive. We're not going to come up against many sides as good as they were. So, shall we have a quick look at table? Only kidding. No. Stockport week in League Cup, and then Hull next Saturday, and an opportunity for Wednesday to get some points on board. Another week in between for Chisco to have a look at things and maybe change one or two things round. Stop playing Barry Bannon as a number 10. And see if we can find a way to get us attacking a little bit more. Also, that game at midweek against Stockport, opportunity to have a look at some players in a more competitive environment. So, all in all, disappointing to lose, but great to be playing again, and still looking forward to the season. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Tough one, but interesting one.